Hi, I'm Charlie Albone, resident garden expert for Still Australia, and I'm here at the magnificent Royal Botanic Gardens in Cranbourne, Victoria, where the professionals are going to be taking me through their autumn reboot process. Let's check it out. Charlie, thanks for having us. Autumn tends to produce a lot of leaves in the garden. How do you keep such a large site looking so pristine?
With a lot of help. Yeah, we have a lot of trees and a lot of mess, a lot of need to clean things up. We use larger wood chipper for the big things that come down over autumn. And although they're mostly Australian trees at Cranbourne, what you don't realise is a lot of these trees over a season, or at least a 12-month period, will lose all their leaves. So they're considered evergreen, but they still drop all their leaves in a season as well. So a lot of the mess, not traditionally over autumn, still takes place in the windy season as well when it's cool. So we're constantly cleaning up after ourselves, a bit of help from still blowers and wood chippers.
So how do you reduce that amount of leaf litter?
Lots of maintenance. So we're lucky in a place like this, there's a lot of regular maintenance, a lot of inspection that goes on. So routine maintenance in what they call crown thinning or cleaning, remove dead, dying, disease woody material, generally helps that load, which we do for a number of reasons this time of year, for biofuel loading and just general aesthetics and the maintenance of the health of the trees. And keeping the health good also keeps the biomass on the ground at least to a minimum, or reduce it as much as possible.
And what do you do with all the leaf litter?
A lot of the bigger stuff goes into the chipper and becomes mulch that we use in the garden bed, which is great for the nitrogen and nutrients in the soil and some water retention. And it's nice and close to home, so we get to recycle it straight from site. We also use a lot of the, for biodiversity purposes and the benefit of the health of the bushland and the native animal populations, we use the larger wood for habitat where possible too. So for the most part, it is, even when a tree's removed, as much as we can gets recycled back in the landscape. Yeah,
it's really important not to put that down fresh onto a garden bed though, isn't it?
It is, yeah, especially with the eucalypts, they can be pretty acidic. A lot of the stuff will leach out, and most mulch is a little bit, it'll draw the nitrogen out of the soil, which is the opposite of what you want if you put it fresh on. But if you let it recycle and build up some heat and some microbial bacterial activity, it will eventually become perfect in the application for your garden. Although it looks nicer when it's fresh, it's not as effective.
Does, yeah. So because you collect so much native material, is there an issue with the oils in the eucalypts?
There can be, but for the most part, most of the mulch that you collect, you should let break down for that reason. For any of the stuff, even pine mulch can be the same, be heavily acidic. Yeah, if you let it break down properly, generally it's not an issue. Sure,
and I assume you would get a lot more material after a storm. Is there any way to kind of work out what you should be taking out to protect yourself from storm damage?
Yeah, a lot of that comes down to the regular inspections we do here. We have a pretty rigid cycle of 18 months, so we go through most of the tree populations at both gardens and in Cranbourne as well, and the bushland. And we look for defects from the ground that we can see, and we'll generally try to correct the structure or remediate that issue and find the next thing that's about to fall on the ground before it does, where possible.
So what tools would you recommend for a really good cleanup?
We love the Still BGA 100 for the larger piles of leaves and all sorts of large sticks that blow really well. But in the Arb crew, we've just moved to the Still BGA 86, and we essentially fits beautifully in the side box and the tool cabinets, and it's all we use, and we generally have a larger, more woody debris mass, and it seems to deal with that really well.
There's so many benefits with using battery powered stuff as well. Have you found that when you're doing a big clean up?
Absolutely. In a landscape like this, people are here to sort of, meditate with the gardens, and so it's a benefit not having loud, petrol blowing, noisy machinery. And things that we really appreciate is just when it's warm and cool, generally get a lot less heat and weight and vibration on your back.
Yeah, so you can work for longer periods.
Work for longer periods, especially with the Still BGA 100 is really good like that. It has a backpack. It's very ergonomic, but also as you're using it, it doesn't seem to cook your back. But it's really ideal, and you can walk around and use it in most settings without really upsetting your visitors, which is generally ideal, or your neighbours, depends on what you're using it for. So yeah, ideal.
So Charlie, thank you so much for all your advice today. It's been really great to see how you care for such a beautiful garden.
It's been a pleasure, thank you.
For more professional tips from my visit to the Royal Botanic Gardens in Cranbourne, head to the Still blog.